What's up guys, Everything Apple Pro here, and today I'm going to be comparing the all-new iPhone 6s Plus to the Galaxy Note 5. I've been waiting a while to make this video. We didn't really know much about the iPhone 6s, but now that it's out, we have everything we need to know about it and put these guys to the test. So I'm going to be talking about features and specs and pretty much reasons you'd want one over the other. Maybe you're shopping for a 6s Plus, maybe you already have a Note 5 and you want to switch over. So I want to give you a good idea as to which device is better suited for you and why. And this is based off of features, specs, price, everything considered. Both devices are great, but let's go ahead and see how they stack up in a true comparison. Now, I just want to mention I'm not picking sides here. I love both of these devices equally. The Note 5 is in a category of its own. This thing is a beast and it really has so much going for it. The 6s Plus has a lot of unique technology that the Note 5 doesn't, but ultimately I want you guys to make the choice based off of everything you learn here today. So to begin, let's talk displays. Both of these guys have a fairly equal size display. However, the Note 5 is just a little bit bigger. It's at 5.7 inches versus 5.5 of the 6s Plus. Now that's not to mention resolution. The Note 5 is in a realm of its own. It has such sharp resolution, 518 pixels per inch versus a measly 401 of the iPhone 6s Plus. But both displays are great. However, you just got to give it to the Note 5. Samsung really knows how to make a killer display. This thing is AMOLED also, so it has very deep dark blacks while maintaining a beautiful vibrance and clarity. Now, as for materials, the iPhone 6s Plus uses a new dual ion exchange process for the display, making it twice as durable as the iPhone 6 Plus display. The Galaxy Note 5 uses Gorilla Glass 4, which in my tests has proven to be extremely durable. I mean, this is the material I would want on my device, and I'll be putting that to the test in my future drop test. Now, as far as design goes, the Galaxy Note 5 has glass on the front and rear. The iPhone 6s Plus just on the front, and it has a full aluminum shell made out of a new construction of aluminum 7000 used in the production of the Apple Watch, making it twice as tough as the 6 Plus. So that'll stand up better when dropping. Now, which device is more comfortable to hold and use one-handed? Certainly the Galaxy Note 5. It's a little bit thicker, so you have a little bit more to grip, and the curve on the back actually helps you get a firm grip on the phone, and it's a little easier to use one-handed. Not to mention that the software features make it easier to use one-handed. The 6s Plus, however, is a lot more slippery. The rounded edges give you, not much space to get a good grip on the phone, and I've actually had this slip out of my hand a lot. The actual material is very slippery on both of these, but the Galaxy Note 5 is a fingerprint magnet, especially if you get it in gold. Like, man, you just set this thing aside and it looks beautiful, but you just can't help but notice all the fingerprints on it. The 6s Plus, however, a little bit better when it comes to the fingerprints. On the front, they're definitely more noticeable on the Note 5. Now, these guys both have 4 colors, and depending, of course, on which carrier you have, you won't be able to get some of those colors on some carriers on the Note 5. Now, let's talk power. Now, because we don't have an official Geekbench just yet, we don't truly know the extent of the power differences on the new iPhone 6s. However, Apple does state that they're 70% faster using the A9 chip than the old A8 in the iPhone 6 Plus. And when I compare those two on benchmarks, it wasn't that crazy of a difference. The Note 5 is truly the more powerful device, but single core score is very close on both devices. So when running the actual Geekbench, I was very surprised that the iPhone 6 Plus with its dual cores and 1.4 GHz setup did so well at the single core score. And single core is what's used for most daily tasks. Dual core comes into play as well, but you're not really going to need 8 cores unless, of course, you're a power user and you need all of that. So even the 6 Plus did very well compared to the Note 5. The 6s Plus will do so much better though, and I cannot wait to put that to the test. But in terms of specs, the Note 5 truly looks beastly on paper, and the iPhone 6s Plus I'm sure will do very good because Apple does a very good job optimizing what little resources they do add. The 6s Plus 2 gigs of RAM, the Note 5 has 4. That's double of the 6s Plus. And when it comes to GPUs, I just wanted to mention that the Galaxy Note 5 uses the same GPU used in the S6 and S6 Edge. Those GPUs, the T760, were actually outperformed by the iPhone 6 Plus. Now imagine a GPU on the 6s Plus that's 90% faster. That means you're going to get even better performance and possibly beating this guy. Of course, I'll be doing a full comparison of that very soon once I do have both phones. So don't be discouraged by the iPhone 6s's specs. Apple's always, and I mean always, made such good use of what they do have. Now let's talk wireless. Galaxy was actually very proud of future-proofing their Note 5. If only they would act the same way with software updates. But what they did was they put a Cat9 compatible LTE chip inside of this guy, which makes the theoretical download speed over LTE up to 466 megabits download speed. However, no carriers really utilize that right now. Now the 6S Plus supports 300 megabits download speed, which is twice that of the 6 Plus. Again, it depends on which carrier you have if you'll even be able to utilize that much. And the 6S Plus has a few more bands than the Note 5. Of course, depending on which carrier, you'll have different bands on the Note 5. The 6S Plus comes with 23, and that's more and better for international roaming and travel. Now, when it comes to Wi-Fi, the 6S Plus is theoretically capable of 866 megabits. Now, try and find an internet provider besides Google Fiber that'll do that, but it is possible with the Note 5. It can do MIMO as well, and it can do 620 megabits download speed per second. So the 6S Plus has a slight advantage in Wi-Fi speed. And there's a new Bluetooth 4.2 standard on both of these, which is great. So let's talk batteries. The Note 4 had a removable case where you could put a removable SD card and a battery. Well, the Note 5 no longer has that. Both have non-replaceable batteries. Well, they're not too far off in terms of size. The 6S Plus has a 2750 mAh battery, the Note 5 3000, and both are a downgrade from their predecessors. The Note 4 had a 3220 mAh battery, the iPhone 6 Plus had a 2910 mAh battery, so it's a slight downgrade. However, when it comes to actual numbers, the 6S Plus outperforms the Note 5 in both standby and talk time. We don't have any other specs for the Note 5, so when you're actually using these devices, even though the 6S Plus has a slightly smaller battery, it's better optimized to get better efficiency. Now, both devices have a low power mode. However, the Note 5, I gotta give it to them, they did wireless fast charging. You can charge this thing from 0% to 100 in just 2 hours, whereas the 6S Plus takes a lot longer to charge. I'd say between 3 to 4 hours. And I just want to mention that the Note 5 heats up like crazy. I don't even know why, but when I set it to fast charge, this thing is almost so hot you can't touch it. Just take a look at how hot it gets compared to an iPhone 6 Plus charging. I don't know why, but that's just something I would consider because it can be really annoying holding a really hot phone when it's recharging. And let's talk cameras. So the camera again on the Note 5 was donated from the S6 and S6 Edge. It's a 16 megapixel 1.9 aperture ISOCELL sensor, which is very capable. It was a beautiful camera. Samsung earned a lot of awards for it. I mean, it truly is a great camera. However, there's one area where it lacks that the 6S Plus takes off, and that's slow motion. The 6S Plus does slow motion at 1080p at 120 frames per second and 720p at 240. So if you enjoy recording things in slow motion, 6S Plus is definitely going to have a clear advantage. Both can do 4K. However, the Note 5 has a lot of fine tuning in the camera. You can do so much of the camera, control ISO, and there's so much settings in the camera on the Note 5 that the iPhone 6S Plus does not have. I mean, the iPhone overall just got the ability 9 firmware versions later, I mean iOS 9, in order to control your resolution of your video. I think that's just ridiculous, but finally Apple's caught up with that at least. Now, what I don't like about the Note 5 camera is when you set this thing down on a table, it protrudes more, so you can rock it back and forth very easily. If you like setting your phone down and doing things on it, it's a little unstable on the Note 5. However, the 6S Plus, of course, does protrude still, it's just not as noticeable. Now, front-facing cameras, both are now at 5 megapixel, both wide angle, so Apple has done some good catching up. However, aperture is slightly lower on the Note 5, which could do better in low light situations. And Apple's still stuck at 720p. So what I did want to mention is that Apple actually introduced a new True Tone flash. They built a custom chip that they placed inside of the phone that flashes the display 3 times brighter than standard. So in Snapchat, if you flash it using a front-facing camera, it'll do 3 times brighter on the 6S. And it actually color coordinates the display depending on your surroundings to give you an even flash for your skin tone. So that's going to be a great feature, definitely a clear edge over the Note 5. So the iPhone 6S Plus is certainly catching up to the Note 5. Now, I'm not saying it's overtaking it, I'm not saying why it's better, I'm just saying Apple's finally catching up to it. It's been a while since we've got so many features that we've had on Android for so long, so it's good to see that. Now let's talk price and storage options. On the 6S Plus, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, they start off contract at $749 and build up to $949. Off contract, it's very even pricing. Now for the Note 5, depending on what carrier you have, if you're buying on a carrier unlocked, the prices vary wildly, and there are only 2 storage options, 32 and 64 gigabyte. No 128 gigabyte for the Note 5 for whatever reason. And it sucks because you can't add SD cards either, so you're stuck with what you buy. But they're more or less evenly priced. Alright, so this brings me to exclusive features. I haven't even talked about those yet, I've just mentioned the specs. Now the 6S Plus has that new 3D touch display, and it really will revolutionize the way you use your phone. It makes things so much easier your shortcuts. You save a lot of time doing regular tasks, and 3D Touch basically tells the difference between a soft tap and a firm press. It'll give you so much more control over your phone without cluttering up the display. That's something the Note 5 doesn't have. The 6S Plus features a new Touch ID sensor as well, so it's going to be a lot faster and less read errors than the Note 5s. Now, the iPhone 6S Plus also has a new haptic engine built in, so you're going to feel a lot more responsive when you actually touch a display. When you get notifications, you'll feel a much better and even vibration from that haptic engine. The iPhone 6S Plus, of course, has a True Tone flash that the Note 5 doesn't. It has a 128GB option and slightly faster Wi-Fi cap. And that's pretty much where the exclusives stop on the 6S Plus. There's really not much else I can say. I mean, the Note 5 has so much that the iPhone 6S Plus doesn't. And if you guys actually want to see me talk more in depth about this, I'll have a link down below in the description to how these really compare software side. But the Note 5 has a ton going for it. I mean, fast charging, wireless charging, that means a lot. To have your phone sit down and be fully charged in 2 hours, that's really impressive. There's also the S Pen, and this is something the iPhone 6S Plus does not have. This is really cool. And what I like is the moment you take it out, you can start drawing on the screen. That makes it so useful for college students, people at work that they constantly need to write down things, so it's extremely useful. This thing is overall going to make a much better productivity tool. If you need multitasking, if you need productivity, this thing is the tool for you. I mean, it has split screen view on the phone. It has so many software features that the 6S Plus doesn't have, and I'm not going to be covering them in this video, but there are so many. It also has a crispier, larger display that's also AMOLED technology, which is far superior than LCD. Deeper blacks, more efficient. I mean, this display is absolutely gorgeous, and it shames me that Apple hasn't made it to OLED yet. I hope they do with the 7, but that's definitely a clear advantage for the Note 5. And the base storage is 32GB. So that's what I really like about it, is you're getting more for your money when you're buying the entry-level model. So guys, that's just about it. I wanted to give you guys a good idea between these devices. The Note 5 has a lot that the iPhone 6S Plus doesn't have, and the 6S Plus has some cool features that the Note 5 doesn't have. Just take a look at the list and consider what you guys need out of these devices. Which one is calling your name? Not everybody needs some of the features you might, and it really depends on your situation, what you need out of a phone. I really don't want to force my opinion on you guys, so hopefully this video did help you make that choice about which phone is better suited for you. Be sure to check out many of the other videos on my channel, in particular the durability tests. Both of these devices I have put through their paces, and the Note 5 truly is the more durable device. In fact, here's one of my survivors, and this one actually has the cracked rear glass. The glass is so much more durable in this guy. That's what I love about it. But anyways, guys, hope you did enjoy this video. Again, be sure to check out many of the other videos on my channel. Subscribe, as I will be releasing that full comparison very soon. Stay tuned for it, guys. Have a great day, and I hope I helped you guys make the right choice. Peace.